Laurent,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Lednick,
Here.
Woznansky,
Here.
Oswald,
Here.
and Rose here, all present.
So we have approval of the agenda, a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve as presented.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. So what we have under our informational items is a review of our downtown successes, goals, and objectives. So to briefly recap, our successes since our last informational meeting was completion of the winter and spring decor. We held our second annual Vintage Fest. We are in the process of preparing for our second annual Winter Fest. We have an upcoming partnership with the 4 County Community Foundation for shared office space. And we were able to launch our marketing program. So that's what we've completed since our last informational meeting. Our goals and objectives for the upcoming 6 months to a year is to continue to grow and launch our incubator program, hire and onboard our executive director, continue with our streetscape projects, and continue with exploring and hopefully having, working with the village council to having our social district approved.
When was the last meeting? Just so we know that, how long ago that was that all of this was accomplished in that amount of time?
Good question.
I think it was June.
I want to say, I think it was June.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. If anyone has anything they wanted to add to either of our successes or goals or objectives?
Well, since I'm new, I have one question
Sure.
here. So with what you just said, is there anywhere that it's written down, all of the goals and objectives that you just stated? I don't see that written anywhere.
They're not written here on the agenda, it's just more of a recap of what we've done, but as we meet going forward, if we're gonna continue on with the pillar programs will have more formalized goals and objectives.
Okay, so that will be formally put into the meeting agenda then at that point? Okay,
Correct. Yep.
thank you.
Yep, as we start formalizing and moving forward on some items.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we can go to board member comments. John?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. I just would like to add that in the last 6 months, just my appreciation to the board of all the hard work that they've put in. We've been a bit shorthanded and keeping the office running and still being able to put on these different events. So thank you to everybody for all of their help with that.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, just reiterate what you said. Thank you, everyone. And there's even people who are no longer here that did a lot of work in the meantime, so it's not just us that are present.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm good. I was gonna say, the past members as well. So I'm all good.
And Kathy?
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully I can be an asset to the board.
We're glad to have you. All right, and then we have public comment. Any public comment for this portion of the meeting, the informational portion? Okay, so now we are going to adjourn this meeting if there's a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's 7:05.
Motion, oh, it's exactly when we said. All right, so now we will call our January Downtown Development Authority regular meeting to order. And roll call.
St. Laurent,
Here?
Lee,
Here.
Hutnick,
Here.
Woznansky,
Here.
Oswald,
Here.
Rose here. 6 present.
Stand for the
We have
Pledge of
a quorum.
Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so now we will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
I would like to propose we tabled number 7, financial report. We did not receive the full report by meeting, and if we can table this until next month, then I propose we just do 2 months
Together.
together in February.
Is your,
My motion,
Motion.
yeah, with that change.
Marty, do you second with the change?
Yes, I second the change.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So welcome to Kathy, our new board member.
Thank you.
So we're glad to have you here, looking forward to getting you on board and acclimated as quickly as possible. We have some training programs that we're looking at for the upcoming months that we'll go into as a board, and I think will really help everybody. So welcome aboard. So move on to approval of minutes from the December 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 4th meeting.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, which brings us back to public forum.
All right, I don't have anything to read. I'm going to take my glasses off for reading, but just a kind of an ask. I'm on the Romeo Rotary Club, and Dave Pierce is on that, and he runs Starkweather Art Center, as we know. Starkweather would actually like to open up their little potting shed in the back for kind of like a warming area or tea, hot chocolate, cider, that sort of stuff during Winterfest. But he's not sure what is going on in the park that people would want to go back there for that. So, and, I said, well, go to the DDA, website. And I looked too, and on the Facebook site and on the website, there's nothing that says what activities are what weekends. So I don't know what the plan is, but I know, I told Dave I'm going to be going to the meeting, so I'll put out the ask on his behalf, just if, you can let him know or whatever, so that they could get something going, and at least one of the weekends during the Winterfest. So that was it.
Thanks, Sharon.
Any other comments at public forum? Okay, so we will move on to funding requests. The board has not received any funding requests this month. Which brings us to our unfinished business. So the first item is the 4-County Community Foundation lease.
Yes.
Speak on
So in your packet, you should have the 4-County Community Foundation lease as presented by our attorneys. The first section is the sublease agreement. Also included in here is our executed contract with PDCU as it exists, because the sublease speaks to that executed contract. This was sent to 4-County Community Foundation, and I have to commend them for quickly turning around and getting us some feedback in less than 24 hours. The only thing that they have pointed out, and I think they're totally minor things, but wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. In the repairs portion, of the sublease agreement, it doesn't specifically say, yes, number 12, that they are, that we would go 50/50 on areas that they're occupying. They definitely noted that they wouldn't think we would charge them for areas that they aren't occupying, but we may want to just add some clarifying verbiage there, that if there is some repairs or maintenance, they would be responsible for areas that they are occupying. So keep that in mind for this discussion. Also, if you look at the very last page, Exhibit C, initially, when we met with Four County Community Foundation, we had talked about the large conference room, which would be their executive director's office. They would actually like to leave that a conference room, if we're open to that, and taking the, it would be the most northeast 5 offices. So starting from this end, I'll point for everybody here, starting at this end,
Okay.
and going this way, 5 offices, instead of that large conference room and the 4 offices that way. Which would leave us with the executive office that we currently have, the conference room, the next office next to that conference room, and then the other admin office, which is next to the executive office, as well as we would be sharing the common areas. So those are the 2 changes that they asked for. Does anybody have any questions, comments at this point?
Well, since I'm
Yeah.
new,
Mhm.
one, how much are they, what's the lease amount that we'll be receiving?
We are receiving services. So they will be giving us hours of grant writing research
Okay,
in lieu of payment. And I apologize, we weren't able to get this agreement out sooner.
And Kathy, not to interrupt,
Yeah.
just so you may already know this, but we do not pay a financial rent.
Yes.
yeah, I understand
Yeah,
that, but I know
so-
that we also put, what, $20,000
Correct.
into the
Yes,
building,
yeah.
so
No,
technically,
absolutely, yeah. So,
technically we do,
yeah,
so
we-
that's why I was
we
asking.
Financially, yeah, we definitely put money into it,
Yeah.
but, so yes, they would be their rent writing services.
Okay,
and
so it's
payments.
going, so they're going, basically, they're giving us services, and then is there a cap on hours that, for this? And do we have an amount of what the value of the lease would be? So, I mean, just so there's no going down the road, the discrepancy of, oh, well, nope, sorry, we've already done enough, and we're saying, no, wait, it's really worth this much. Have we gotten to that point?
Yeah, I
10
think
hours
it
a
was
month?
10 hours a month. And I don't have the calculations in front of me. Let me just see if it's in here real quick. I don't have the calculations in front of me, but I want
Okay.
to say, I don't want to speak out of turn.
Okay, yeah.
I have calculations.
Okay, so
okay.
like, what would their hourly rate be?
It is,
It's
we
pub-
have that. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, okay. And then what would that cost to rent that space out? What would be the price now, like in Romeo, to rent something like that out on a monthly basis? Do we know?
That's a good question. Based on some of the rent, I mean,
Yeah, I know, it's,
it's huge fluctuation.
I know, this person wants this, and then you got upstairs, and then you got offices,
Right.
yeah, just a
Right.
ballpark figure is what I was looking for. Okay. All right. Okay.
What I'm looking at here is the sublease agreement, which is our agreement with PDCU.
No, the sublease portion would be our agreement with Four
The
County.
first 3 pages.
The first 3 pages are with Four County,
And then Exhibit B is our lease with PDCU.
which the sublease speaks to, so it's the whole thing.
See, on page 3 is where we would sign, because this was created by McGraw-Morris.
Sure, so if that's what I'm looking at, so page 1. I'm looking at the dates.
Mhm.
What you're telling me is the lease, it says January 2023 is actually our portion of that lease.
Correct.
Right.
And it speaks to the rent and use of the premises, a copy of which is attached here to Exhibit B, the original lease.
So we're gonna hold them meaning for county to the same, everything listed in our lease, which is what you've got listed here.
Unless it's otherwise specified in the sublease, yes.
The offices they're looking to use changed then.
It did, just from
So,
this evening when I.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Mhm.
as I'm looking from left to right
Yes.
across the top.
Yes,
Right.
They're not gonna have any executive office, they're just using those small offices, they've been in there obviously.
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
understand and the limit between the ceiling and all of this stuff.
yes. Yeah, they.
Yeah, so they're basically starting 5 from the left versus 5 from the
And
right.
they don't want a larger, they're
No,
just
I
gonna
act-
use the common area for, they're not even gonna use the conference room?
They would use the conference room would be a common area.
The large,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we set up, just to kind of start when the board agreed to start working with Fort County, was a shared calendar,
Mhm.
so that if their executives or they needed to have a meeting, they could start having those meetings, and that conference room would be one of the places they could have a meeting.
the private conference room, not the
Yes.
common area.
Right.
And they could use the common area both, but yes. Initially, in those conversations, they were going to have that conference room as the executive office. But since being in there and working in there, they feel it would be better suited to have the other ones.
Are they expecting any furniture, or computer equipment, or printers, or anything that exist currently?
They did say they had some furniture,
Okay,
that they would be bringing. Don't know what all of that is quite yet. We did say that a lot of that furniture that was in those smaller rooms, we felt we'd be able to let them use. They didn't think they needed any printers or computers. They had all that stuff. They actually
Yeah.
just bought new printers.
that's
So-
fine. My main reason for asking is because if they don't, we need to coordinate moving.
Correct.
Yeah.
Some things,
Mhm.
and where are we gonna move those things? So,
Mhm.
my opinion is as much of the furniture as they can use, they should.
I
Because
think-
we've got nowhere to put it.
That was the
If they come in and
understanding.
they say they don't want this desk, well, where are we gonna put it?
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, the computers and the printers should move.
To another
No matter
office for
what.
now.
Yeah, I think there's enough space, but it sounded like it was just perhaps Kathy's desk, that she seemed to really, like, that was like, I want my desk,
Yeah.
but other than that, I feel like it's
We can
all,
make room in the common area. if
Yeah,
we
we
want
can
to,
work it
But if
out.
we've got it empty for
No,
5
no, no.
offices, I don't know where we put it.
no, and I think that was one of the things that they appreciated about it, was it's literally
Okay.
move in and, ready for them.
So
So
we're
they'll
taking
have-
this,
oh, go
and we're
ahead.
gonna execute this, our attorneys
So,
provided this, so he's
Yes.
comfortable. with,
Our attorneys wrote this lease.
Wrote
Yes.
this, so he's
Yep.
comfortable with it, and then PDCU obviously is reviewing or will review.
correct.
Yep.
So now that we have feedback from Fort County, we'll have to send that feedback to our attorneys to make those minor changes. I didn't think they were significant, those minor changes. And then, once they make those, they're good, Fort County's good, PDCU will sign off as well.
So they'll have access to come and go?
And the way that they have their keys set up is, you're issued a pass key that's connected to the person. So each of their employees will have their own pass key, so that they're able to monitor
Who's
that I go
coming
in,
and
did you
going.
go in, however it works out.
Is there any other questions? Things we want to clarify?
Do we use this space for anything? I mean, does the DDA, do we?
So we will be using the one executive office, when we bring on our executive director.
Okay.
Quite honestly, all the little offices in the back, we don't have a use for right
Right.
now. We do keep
Right.
one for our treasurer and secretary to
Mhm.
kind of be able to house our paperwork. But this still allows us the 2 front-facing offices, so the executive office and then the one, so we have 2 office spaces plus our board office, plus then enough spaces for public areas. So I still think we have a lot of room to grow into to the spaces that we have.
Yeah, it's a big area.
It is, for sure.
And then currently, the space is still used, the TNT group for the chamber uses it every other Tuesday, or first and second Tuesday, however it falls. Chamber often has their executive board meetings in that common area. And we had a couple other community groups use it for
Nice.
a meeting area. And then Fort County has been using it as well for their board meetings and whatnot. And those are the pieces I was speaking to, where that calendar came in handy. So we can put on there that common area was in use, schedule the time, so that we're not overlapping.
Yeah.
Is that a shared calendar, like,
Yep. Right now, it's shared with myself. They have you on there, Andrea? Myself, Andrea, and Kathy Dickens from Fort County Community Foundation, just so we could kind of get the ball rolling.
Anyone outside of, the DDA board and Fort County Community Foundation would go through us to rent the space. So the chamber would contact us and we would access that and work with them on space. But it's such a great space and it's such a big space. And the more we can get the use out of it, I think, and get more people, just through there and giving people a place to meet, is definitely just beneficial to everybody.
so eventually that'll be shared with all the board, like we'll all be included in that calendar?
Well, I
Yeah.
don't see why we couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's for sure, we can definitely do that.
I just think it's good for keeping the communication open.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point,
My only thought on
Go
that
ahead.
would be view access versus adjustment to count, like,
Yeah, we
just
kind of have to have a,
you're gonna have 9 people, 10
Type
people.
of-
Yeah, view access, I can totally see that, but
Yeah.
to be able to
Oh, I
adjust,
agree,
yeah,
I think that would be left with you guys.
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want, more communication so we all know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, so at this point, I'd like to make a motion to accept this lease agreement with these minor changes we discussed, the repairs and maintenance, adding some minor verbiage just to clarify that they're responsible for the areas that they occupy, the 50/50 as it states, and that the change in office space as we discussed. If there were to be any other major changes, we would bring that back to the board, but again, they've already looked over it, those were their only 2 changes, so.
Okay, so we have a motion, is there a second? Okay, I'll second the motion. So any further discussion before we vote?
So, so are we approving this?
Yes, so we're approving to proceed with the lease with the 2 changes, the 50/50 on repairs and the changes on what office spaces would be dedicated to them. So 5 from the left versus 5 from the right.
I'll just mention, if we're still discussing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just some comments that I've received from various people regarding Fort County Community Foundation and how fantastic they are and what a coup it really is for us. Just to be sharing space, I guess, because
It's surely a win-win, yeah.
the benefits that they can bring in, the synergy between the 2 of us, and it's gonna expand just beyond, I think what we're thinking right now. And, again, as long as we don't get into any kind of financial issues with them, point well taken that Kathy brought up regarding what is the value, and not just necessarily verbal, but, let's make sure that we're all have an understanding of what we're giving and taking, so, but the foundation, for the area that they cover and for what they can provide, I I say is fantastic.
Yes, and I would also add to that, thank you, John. You know, regardless of this lease being signed or how long it's taken or any of that, Kathy has continued to reach out and share contacts and things that would benefit the DDA. So, as well as PDCU being very excited to be included in this partnership, it speaks a lot to Fort County Community Foundation and what they do.
Yeah, I think just to kind of echo what you guys are saying, I think especially once we, move forward with bringing our staff on, the relationship between the two is just gonna be beneficial across the board, and really just work very well hand in hand together.
I do have another question on that. So when will the hourly services, when will they start?
It would start upon,
This
within the first month of.
First
of
month,
service.
okay.
Yeah,
And then how are we going about with that? Who's meeting with them? I mean, what's the process, I guess, is what I'm looking
So,
for.
essentially, to start, it would be probably Danielle and myself. Unless someone else wants to get on board, that's great. I would assume once we bring on an executive director, that person being in that office would be taking on some of those daily tasks. But the hours of work that we're receiving is everything from research, assisting us in writing grants, helping us kind of gather all the information together. So I would.
So they're gonna assist us in the grant writing? They're not gonna do the grant writing? Is
Well,
that?
they're gonna have to, but we're gonna have to provide some feedback
Right,
to work
right.
together.
Yeah,
with
we
them.
have to give them the information.
Yeah,
But they're
so-
gonna actually write the
yes,
grants?
yeah,
Okay, because
yeah.
I know grant writing is a
It's a whole other
other.
ballgame, yeah.
yeah.
So working with us, helping us identify, even I've found some grants, and when you look deeper, it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
isn't good for us, or this is good for us.
Yeah.
So really helping us kind of cut through all of that and
Okay.
identify ones that we're gonna really go after.
Okay,
And with that, I think that we'll obviously be able to do some, tracking of hours, and,
right,
we may not get a grant written every month.
Right.
But sometimes it's the prep work and preparing.
sure, sure, absolutely. So will we be, at every monthly meeting, will we have, will that be on the agenda, like what was accomplished in those 10 hours for that month?
Yeah,
and-
I think absolutely. We should be able to provide a recap.
Yeah, because
whether
I'm
it was-
excited about the whole grant program. I
Me
think
too,
that's
yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm just
So whether
trying to wrap
it's-
my head around how we're
Sure.
gonna go about this.
Yeah, no, I think a recap of, here's the ones that we've researched of these 5, that we've
Okay.
identified 2, and,
Right,
and how we're gonna go forward with that.
okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, thank you.
All right, any other discussion before we move on to voting? All right, I think we should take roll call.
Okay, Lee,
Yes.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes,
Rose, yes, pass 6-0.
Perfect. Great. Next item is Michigan Class Investments.
Still in the research phase. Yeah, we're still in the research phase with that. Winterfest took a front seat and Michigan Class Investment took a back seat, so.
Well, just to quickly, I'm sorry,
I was
just,
gonna say, I can tell you from experience.
Yeah.
If you want.
well, I was gonna say, it was pretty impressive to listen at the village council meeting,
Yes.
so absolutely.
We would need, they would like an investment policy. So you'll need an investment policy, of which the village has, so if you would like copy, piggyback, reaffirm as your own, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good starting point.
And specific link, they wanted a certain phrase in there, of which, again, we can tell you. And other than that, it was a motion from the board, some sort of, it can just literally be the minutes or an actual resolution saying yes. And that was really all it took to get the ball rolling. And, I mean, within a week, Caroline had our certain people that are signers. There's a little bit of legwork on the back end with the bank account and all that kind of stuff. And then every day it's fun to jump on and see how much more money.
It's, yeah,
To date, the village, I think we're close to somewhere between 15 and 20 grand already, just within, we
Isn't that
did it,
amazing?
our council meeting, when we approved it, and now it hasn't even been
I don't think it's been
a month.
No.
It's,
$20,000.
it's crazy, but we also have large sums
Sure.
that we're
It's,
investing.
yeah, it's gonna be relative.
Yeah, and that's only half of it, like, we're dividing between Michigan and another one,
Mhm.
and, could you imagine if that was, we had it all in there, we would be talking about 20 grand right now, I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
So that's about it, but just
So-
email me if you want the, stuff.
So would you suggest that we bring that investment policy to the next meeting to vote on
Yeah, you
and then
need-
make the,
Yes, and do you have a contact?
No.
Okay, I can get you that too.
perfect, thank you. So we will work on doing that, putting together, basically just using
That's
the
what your
villages and.
treasurer would be kind of the spearheader of it, as our treasurer was.
Mhm.
If the, I mean, treasurer never gets to do anything, you get to do that.
To be an investment banker. Perfect. Which brings us to Winterfest update.
Okay, exciting, Winterfest. So Winterfest is starting this weekend with live ice sculpture at MJC Marketplace, Kathy's Place. And then there will also be an ice sculpture at Rustic Bluebird. We'll also have horse-drawn wagon rides this weekend and face painting at Four Corners Diner. So fun stuff going on over in that quadrant this weekend. Also a reminder that the 5K Run Walk Snowman Dash registration is open. I touched base with Coach Mike, and they already have 151 runners registered,
Wow.
which
great.
is more than double what they had at registration for last year at this time. So growth is a really great thing to see. As a reminder, it's starting a little bit later than it did last year. So go register for that. There are posters you'll see around town. There's QR codes for registration. Registration is also open for the chili cook-off. That's February 10th. And those are on the Facebook page as well at the Masonic Building. There'll be fun little prizes and different categories for business versus home cook, so
Is there an age limit? I mean, to how young you could be?
I don't know.
I have a young cook that.
Oh, I think everyone's invited.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. And then, so in total, we have 8 ice sculptures. 4 of them are live sculpting. They are, like I said, MJC Marketplace is having the live sculpture this Saturday. Rustic Bluebird will have theirs next weekend is FAM's. On the 27th is Vera's, the Office Pub, and the Cottage. And then February 3rd is Main Street Coffee House and Best Life and Company. Igloos in the park. So we initially approved to order 3. When I went to order them, they were back ordered and I could only get 2. So we got 2, thought we would start with 2. We were able to get 1 assembled. The other one was damaged and needs to be sent back. So I started that refund process. I have submitted for that to be refunded. They're going through that. I ordered another one in the time being to hopefully get that in. So if it shows up this week, then I'll have my little volunteers come out again and put together the second igloo. Hint, hint, John. But we've already seen people using them, which is really cool. We had a couple people comment online that they were excited about it and they used it and it was surprisingly warm in there. So that's fun. Let's see. Do you have anything? You were gonna say something?
Nope, I was just gonna say, I was thinking, as far as Starkweather, perhaps like a warming station after the 5K would be a good, point for them to do.
I didn't catch the date of the 5Ks.
The
Third.
February 3rd.
Thank you. I'll let Dave know that.
And also just a thank you to Sharon for
Yes, thank you.
taking on the chili cook-off and being our chair for that. So thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Are we going to be getting a porta potty at all at the 5K?
I have that on my list to look at.
Okay, because I know that the coffee shop was very much overwhelmed, and as runners, I mean, you're already jittery and it's cold and you want to be as
Well-
light as possible.
We have, so Masonic is gonna be the spot that runners check in at.
Oh,
So Masonic will be open.
okay, well, as
We have
long as there's,
bathrooms-
as long as there's restrooms, that's all.
Rooms in Masonic. But yes, I did have porta potties on my list as a possible.
Well, I think it just a restroom offering is
Yeah.
Yeah.
needed. If that's already taken care of, then no porta potty isn't necessary.
Okay. I'm just making a note for the pickup location. Pickup location will be for the 5K, the evening before at Masonic and the morning of at Masonic. And I'm just gonna double check that with Coach Mike and make sure nothing changed there. But yeah.
Great.
Anything else anybody has on Winterfest that I've missed?
I have a another question.
Okay.
I heard a lot of very positive comments about the horse carriage. This was what, vintage Christmas, December, right? Or December. And I see they're on there a couple weekends,
Yeah.
but not all. Is that up to them, their schedule?
Yes.
They were booked, so to
We
speak? Is that what
said we will
happened there?
take them every weekend for the rest of
Okay.
our lives if they would be
Okay.
willing to come out, so.
Yeah, because I thought obviously that's a great fill
Yeah.
for those
People
other
do like
weekends,
that.
What
They-
else is going on and,
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap where, the end of January, they're actually gonna be out of town. But, so we filled in as many dates as they were able to come, and they have said it's been a great program for them as well, and, so it's a great partnership that we have, and hopefully we'll keep them coming out.
And then I also wanted to ask, ice sculptures, I guess, for example, I see the list of where they are. Everyone was offered this, is this correct?
Yes, an email
Like,
went
I'm
out.
always very conscious about, south of 32, north of 32, where things are happening, when they happen. I know some of the things are unavoidable, the race is where it is.
Right,
Right.
Masonic is where it is.
Right.
But some of these other things, we put this out there to everybody as far as businesses, and
Get a big
we're
email
going by the
blast.
responses that we received back,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Regarding
Correct.
where the ice sculptures are, where whatever other events are.
correct.
Okay.
That's all I had for Winterfest.
Great. All right, so moving on to new business. First item is.
Excuse me, under unfinished business, are we not going to cover B, the 2024 floral contract, or do we? Do I have the wrong agenda?
Which one?
I don't
Is that, I think that's the minutes, is that the minutes from the?
Is it,
This is the one you're on.
Is it?
oh, is this?
I think
Oh.
Is it the minutes?
It's
Is it
the
the minutes?
minutes,
Okay.
okay, see?
I
I'm
was like,
new.
oh,
I know
no.
what we're doing.
Like, oh, I got a different one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Is this one it?
Right here.
Which one is it?
That one,
Is this Jamie Monday?
the longer one.
Oh, this one, okay. Yep, now I see.
When it says agenda.
That one that says agenda, that one,
The
not
other one
minutes,
does
thank
too,
you.
but it was
I
the
know.
first one.
Okay, so executive director position. A couple of months back, the board decided to move forward with bringing on a office admin type role. We had some great feedback and some great applicants come in. But we found that none of them had like specific DDA experience, and really we, kind of assessed that we're gonna be spending more time training someone into this role, that very quickly we're gonna be looking to hire an executive director. So the employee committee has decided to start the search for an executive director. And based on the, we just talked about our goals and objectives and things that we have going on, it's necessary, it's a necessary role within a DDA. I mean, There's not very many DDAs that do not have an executive director. So we are moving forward with filling that position. The position has been listed. Danielle and I had a conversation with the DDA attorneys and, kind of, they have helped map out what does this look like, how do we do this appropriately. So currently, the executive director job description is in the hands of our attorneys to edit, approve, kind of make their suggestions and send it back to us. The position has been listed. We will be accepting applications and resumes through the 15th of January. And then we will be having a set date of interviews at the DDA office with candidates who have met the requirements and that we'd like to bring in for an interview. Once the employee committee conducts their interviews, we plan to, hopefully in that group, have a candidate that we'd like to bring on board. And we will be presenting that candidate, if all goes well, at the February meeting. So any questions on that?
Yes, who's on the employee committee?
I'm on the committee and Danielle is on the committee.
Where is this listed?
Indeed,
That's it?
yes.
There was
So it's
three
up
on the
right now?
committee at one time.
Okay, I think, I just, 3 was always nice, an odd number
Yeah.
for,
There were
Yes.
three.
was there 3? Okay.
Yeah, there was 3. If someone would like to join the committee, we're welcome to have you on board. Being that our board's a little bit smaller,
Yeah,
those
I
members
know.
on the employee committee kind of are no longer on the board, so we have worked with what we have.
Okay, yeah.
Anybody interested?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Wanna-
You want
You
to do
want
it?
to be on?
No,
Yeah.
you go. No.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll do it.
I was just asking.
yeah, no, no. All right,
For-
so Marty, we will add you to the employee committee.
Sure.
And then, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Could I, oh, you go, John.
well, okay, real quick, you mentioned your hope, your desire is to have interviews, a refined job description, and a recommendation by February meeting?
Yeah, so in our discussions with our attorney, he said list the position for a set amount of time. There should be one day that we, this is the interview day and it's, your 6 o'clock, your 7 o'clock, your 8 o'clock, however that works out for us. We will conduct interviews. Each candidate that we do bring in will be asked the same consistent interview questions. And then based on that, if the employee committee finds a candidate that we would like to present forward, then we would be doing that at the February meeting.
And it's posted, you said? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's posted on Indeed.
On Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
I was only going to suggest that the village is a member of the Michigan Municipal League, and in starting our new job search for a new police chief, I'm running into learning more information, and they do put job postings out there
Oh, okay.
that are government-related, such as there is a DDA director position open in Lake Orion right now, I saw on there. It's just other municipal job listings. I don't know, I haven't got far enough to know how you get on there or what you pay, but I'm already looking into that myself for what we're doing, so I'll just throw that your way too. That might be a,
Another venue. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
And you're gonna get municipal-minded people from
Who
that.
know to go to.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that, for sure.
So the deadline is the 15th, or the interviews begin on the 15th?
The deadline for applications that we have listed on the position listed is the 15th, and then once we get our applications in, the employee committee will meet. We're gonna decide who do we want to have come in based on, do they meet our requirements, and and then once we identify whether it's 2, 3, 4 people, I don't, it's hard to say until you have your applications and your resumes in front of you, how many. But once we identify those that we feel would be ready to go to that next step of an in-person interview, we would then pick a set date where people would come in for those interviews.
Okay.
So we will have to meet as an employee committee sometime after the 15th, and then set up our interviews from there.
Okay.
Again, this, the position's, it's needed, it's a needed role, to keep all the things that we have going. And especially, it's a great time to do it. Financially, we're in the position to do it as a board. The partnership with Fort County Community Foundation's a great time to launch, you know, this partnership of everyone kind of coming together. So that's where we are as with that job search. Any other questions? All right. Moving on to Shakespeare in the Village. So this is something that we've talked about kind of off and on over the last couple of months. I did have Lou from All the World's a Stage reach out not too long ago and kind of wants to know where we're at with it and what's the next step. Sharon is one of the people that also volunteered to work on that program. So we are planning to have a meeting sometime in February to get all our volunteers, them together and say, really, what is this gonna look like? And then essentially be able to come up with some budget, you know, are we looking to put how much money into this? And move forward with that. So I just wanted to, more than anything, just kind of give an update, and that's what we're taking our steps forward with the Shakespeare in the Village program. All right. And then next is spring and summer events. So again, just trying to keep on everyone's radar, the next event that we would have is Vintage Fest. Hopefully at that point, we will have an executive director that can really spearhead that program moving forward. But I think that at some point, the board needs to, you know, start kind of thinking of what do we want to do with it? We've talked about different things from last year, essentially changing a date, different programs. Is it going to be 1 day, 2 days? So the board is going to need to decide what we want that to look like so that whoever's putting it on, whether it is an executive director, whether it's us, we're able to give a plan going forward. So whoever's chairing it has the parameters and can run with it.
So we don't have the date set yet.
No, not yet.
I think pairing it, like we talked about, pairing it with the garage sale weekend would be,
Yeah.
Be perfect.
yeah.
A great idea. All right, any comments on anything with Vintage Fest? That brings us to our board member comments.
First of all, I'd like to say, welcome Kathy.
Thank you, John.
Glad to have a new face on the board. I do want to thank, I'm noting Greg, and was there somebody else I'm missing?
Deborah.
Greg and Deborah, and thank you for everything that they've done. Obviously, they're not on the board at this time. But I appreciated working with both of them, and, you know, from what I hear, they're both still around and certainly willing to help, just simply not sitting at the table. So thank you to them as well. And I do want to do also a thank you, Andrea and Danielle. You guys right now are doing a lot of heavy lifting from my experience. You're making it much easier on me than I can say. You know, I'm trying to do my part. I'm doing my little thing, but I know you guys are really doing the bulk of it. So now that we have some new blood on the board and hopefully more to come, it will get a little bit easier for the two of you. But what you've been doing here, what the two of you have been doing here the last few months, I certainly greatly appreciate. You know, I know a lot of that behind the scenes that people don't know about. And then lastly, I guess I will mention, it was mentioned earlier about the igloos. I've had people come into my shop and ask about them and asked if I did them. I said, no, I didn't. It's actually a DDA project, and
Yeah, maybe we need to.
they're out there using them, and I took some pictures of people just simply out there enjoying them. So thank you for
Awesome.
all of you guys. You guys all approved that, of taking that initiative, and at least we have one up. We gotta get some more.
Gotta get some more, but yeah, it's nice to see it used.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, John. When the next one comes in, guess where you're gonna be.
Those little fingers moving. I want to welcome Kathy. It's exciting to see new people on the board and to see the DDA board grow. Also, thank you to Deborah. She did a lot of hard work with all of the plants and trees and Christmas and everything. She really carried that that project, so I appreciate all of her hard work there. And I'm just really excited with, some of the things that are coming with, the Four County Community Foundation and the executive director, just seeing what we're gonna do in the next year, I think is really wonderful.
Yes, I will echo both of your statements on previous board members and all they've done, and also Kathy. I worked with Kathy for a long time, and it's always fun, especially on events.
Yes.
Kathy has great ideas for events, so looking forward to continuing to work with that, so thank you. And another thank you to Sharon for helping with the chili cook-off. There's a lot of details involved in that, and having the extra help is very much welcome. So thank you very, very much.
Right, and I would reiterate that you don't have to be sitting at this table to join in and help. The load is lighter, the more of us that are there to carry it. Thank you, Sharon, for that. Again, thank you guys, and Kathy, appreciate you being willing. She may be new at our table, but Kathy is not new to this sort of work. She's done many years, so she has knowledge that she's bringing with her and experience. Just because she's a new face to us does not mean that she's completely clueless on this. She's got it. Also, our village park has a great signboard out there. We need to get some information in that signboard. Made me think when John said that about the igloos, let's put something in that signboard that says about the igloos.
Yeah, enjoy
what
them.
what they
Yep.
are, that kind of thing. And that is it.
Well, I'm just gonna follow suit, right down. I'm excited to have Kathy on. I know your knowledge, I know I can learn so much from you, and I'm excited to have you on here.
Well, thank you.
And I'm excited to see our board grow. And thank you for carrying the burden. Debbie, oh my God. Danielle and Andrea and John, and Deborah and Greg, thank you for what you've done when you were here. And then, of course, Sharon and Betty, thank you for always coming to the meetings. We appreciate you.
Bring your friends.
So next time, yeah, I was just gonna say, at our next meeting, is bring a friend. Okay? That's your goal. Okay, thank you.
Well, I appreciate all the kind words, and I am very excited. Hopefully, I can be an asset, and just tell me where you need the help and where, and of course, as Danielle and I both have worked together in the past and on a board. So you just let me know where you feel like I could be most needed. And I'd be more than happy to help.
Thank you.
So just let me know.
All right, so with that, we will.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, there we go.
I second.
Is there a second?
I think Marty said she seconded.
Okay,
Who did
all
Mark?
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.